Neil, a nurse present to assist a visually impaired person, looks at a chair with blades coming out. An unknown assailant pushes Neil into the chair, where he bleeds to death. Carrie, a fame-obsessed former Big Brother contestant, exits a lift to Fragments, a private view of the exhibition by sculptor Elliot Quinn. She takes a glass of champagne and asks the bartender if any photographers are coming. She drinks her glass and takes another. Maurice, an academic art critic, arrives next. He grabs a glass of champagne and unsuccessfully tries to flirt with the bartender, B. He is followed by Kenneth Williams, a council health and safety worker, and Jean, an Irish dinner lady. They tell B that they are not together and just met in the lift. Kenneth complains about the lack of mobile signal since they are in the basement, and the contractors didn't put a signal booster. The visually impaired Patricia, an author of erotic fiction, is the last to arrive. She asks for help from someone, and B arrives to give her a hand. She takes Patricia to the rest of the guests. The art show begins, and the guests are welcomed by a projection of Elliot. Elliot died 3 years ago, which he knew was going to happen. He created this installation called Fragments as his legacy. All the guests have been hand-picked to attend the show. Kenneth starts smoking, but B tells him that he is not allowed to do that in here. Maurice wonders why they have been hand-picked. None of them seem to know each other, and have very little in common. Carrie comes across the body of Neil, and so does Maurice. They think it to be an art installation. Carrie checks the ID card of Neil, hanging around his neck, causing the body to fall down. Carrie screams in fear. Kenneth arrives and checks the body. The other guests arrive too. Kenneth decides to go upstairs due to lack of signal. Maurice stays with the body. The lift buttons are not working, so Kenneth tries to force open the lift doors. Jean joins Kenneth to open the lift doors. They manage to open the doors, but find B's body in the lift. Jean screams in horror. Patricia wonders who saw her last. Kenneth tells her that it was him. Kenneth believes there must be a fire door that leads out to the street. Kenneth and Jean meet Maurice in the corridor. They tell him that the waitress girl is dead. Patricia says that this is like that Agatha Christie novel, where no one knows each other and are picked off one by one. Carrie drinks champagne from the bottle and starts choking without Patricia noticing. Smoke comes out of her mouth and she falls down. Kenneth, Jean, and Morris find that the gate has been chained from the outside. They start looking for pliers or bolt cutters around. Kenneth suggests to split up and meet back here in 15 minutes. Patricia notices that Carrie has stopped responding to her. She uses her stick and finds Carrie's body. She starts screaming for help. She hears a glass drop and hides away in the bathroom. The unknown assailant enters the bathroom and knocks at the locked door. He looks under the door and doesn't find anyone. The assailant is revealed to be Jean. Just as she is leaving, she hears Mobile Assistant on Patricia's phone. Kenneth finds Carrie's body along with a bottle of pills in her hand. Maurice finds a bolt cutter. Jean cleans the blood from her hands and then screams loudly. Everyone rushes to her. Maurice looks at Patricia's body and finds her eyes missing. Maurice suggests they all leave immediately and tries to use the bolt cutter. Kenneth shows him the bottle of pills. That has Maurice's name on it. Maurice tells them that's his heart medication, an anti-rejection pill since he has had a heart transplant about 3 years ago. Kenneth reveals he had a lung transplant about 3 years ago. Jean reveals that Patricia had her eyes done. 2 new cornettos. The waitress had some kind of skin graft. Kenneth attacks Morris with a mannequin arm and knocks him down. Jean takes out a plastic bag and suffocates Kenneth with it. Maurice awakens, tied to a chair with Elliot's projection playing. Jean reveals to Maurice that Elliot was her son and died 3 years ago from a brain tumor. He donated every organ of himself and wanted Jean to keep tabs on the people he helped and to gather them together. They were supposed to be the art, a living exhibition, a celebration of how his life gave others a wonderful opportunity. But Jean believes that his organs were wasted on all of them. Neil got new kidneys, but gave himself diabetes by eating too much. B burnt her skin in a fire that she started herself for attention. After getting the skin graft, she destroyed the skin by getting tattoos. Carrie had Elliot's liver and kept destroying by continuous drinking. Patricia spent her days writing pornographic novels using her son's eyes. Kenneth didn't quit smoking despite getting new lungs. And Maurice, despite having Elliot's heart, became a heartless critic. Jean prepares an injection just as Maurice gets his hand slightly out of restraint. Sometime later, journalists arrive at Elliot's art exhibition, showing all the organs taken out from the victims' bodies, including a heart in the jar. The episode ends with a journalist turning to interview the artist credited for the exhibit, which turns out to be Maurice, implying that the heart belongs to Jean. Please like and subscribe the channel for more videos like these.